Hey, and good Tuesday morning, everybody, on October the 14th. How you guys doing today? Welcome to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your no-nonsense weather guy, giving you straight, keeping you prepared and not scared. Yeah, we don't hype every storm here as the storm of the century. Our goal here is to give you reliable forecasts so you can make informed decisions on what you can do to keep your family safe when Mother Nature turns a little crazy. So if you like this kind of reporting and you like that kind of approach, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future weather updates like these. All right, well, we got a lot of things we got to talk about. We got a pretty good storm system on the West Coast. We talked about it yesterday. This is probably one of the most robust storm systems we've seen in October on the West Coast in probably about a decade or so. It's been a long time since we've seen that. We're going to be seeing a little bit of more active weather here in the middle of the country. I kind of tease this as, California, there's a tornado risk there today. I believe that they actually got a severe thunderstorm watch out there this morning. We're going to talk about. There's going to be some severe weather potential going into this upcoming weekend in the middle of the country with a pretty strong cold front sweeping across the southeast. I really think we're going to be in store for a little more, we'll call it a little bit above average severe weather season. We sometimes refer to fall as the secondary severe weather season. I think we're going to see a little more active weather here for the fall just because of the effects of La Nina, a little warmer in the south, warmer Gulf of Mexico, just a couple of ingredients there for that. I think that's what we're going to see here in the season ahead. But let's get you through today and get you through the rest of the work week, shall we? We'll talk about the highs and lows from yesterday. And again, we had Castellon, I think is what it's called there, 99 down there in Texas. Back when they had SpaceX launched Starship yesterday. It was another successful launch, by the way, pretty good. And Colpit, Wyoming, hit 10 degrees yesterday. Pretty cold up there up in Wyoming. So anyway, let's go look at the surface map here, kind of get you configured. Again, we got this very strong storm system out here on the West Coast sliding on down. We got some pretty good rains moving into Los Angeles. And like I said, there's a low tornado risk for them today, but it's there. Something you don't see very often. Got some rains out here in the plains as well. Got some rains exiting off the eastern seaboard there where this pesky low has been kind of lingering there a little bit. Not bad across New England. Southeast looking pretty good here for today, as well as toward Texas and the Southwest also looking pretty neat. Not bad there for today. Speaking of the Los Angeles, we'll squat to California there. We'll take a look at the radar there where we can see with the mountains there in the way, but you kind of see these heavy rains and storms coming into Los Angeles. Some pretty good downpours, making for a wet commute for the folks this morning. It's only like 5:39 West Coast time right now, but they're going to have a wet commute, some downpours, and again, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in that area right now. You can kind of see that there lit up right there. Boom. Here it is right there. Got a severe thunderstorm watch there. We got some winter storm warnings up there for the higher of the Cascade, the Sierra Nevada mountains, not Cascades, that's for the north, Sierra Nevada, and some windy conditions there across Nevada and into Arizona as well as that storm system comes in. So packing a little bit of a punch, that's for sure. And some good rainfall amounts up and down the up and down the West Coast. East Coast, by the way, looking pretty quiet. Not bad there for today. All right, let's go take a quick look out in the tropics. A quick update here. We got Lorenzo out here that did form the other day, and it's going to do a nice little loop-de-loop out there. And typically when that happens, they fall apart. But we'll see what happens with this storm system there. As you can see, the track, I even turned the line on there so you can kind of see it, just this little line, and then whoop, come on back this way. It may even do a complete loop-de-loop, do a complete circle. Some of it takes it west, but some we'll watch. We'll see how it looks going forward. Right now, not a lot of cluster of thunderstorms around that center of circulation right there, but there's our storm right there. Look at this big mama. This is that big low coming off the eastern seaboard right now. Gulf is quiet and the Caribbean is quiet. Looks like we're in store for that. Hey, they just put up this just popped up live. I'll just go ahead and put it up right now. Let me go to Radar Mega real quick. They just put up a flash flood discussion. Heavy rain and flash flood possible now, covering basically the entire metro area of Los Angeles. So that literally just popped up. It expires in about 6 hours. So that's going to go until the early afternoon hours out there, until about noon. So looking at some pretty good heavy rains out there in California. Literally just breaking news as we were doing my live update here for this morning. All right, let's go ahead and talk about I want to go out and talk to the Pacific real quick. Let me go show you that as we are got one little area of disturbed weather out there. This one, I don't think that moisture like the last week will get worked up into the southwest this time. I think that stays buried, but right now it's just a cluster of storms out there, not really organized, but we'll watch that closely to see if it does not make any kind of track up toward the north. Right now, I don't believe so. but we'll see what happens as that thing gets organized. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the excessive rainfall. Obviously, we got to talk about California, and we got to talk about the severe weather risk here for today. Let's go ahead and talk about that. As again, we do have marginal severe weather risk out here for Southern California, as well as some of the areas there in toward New Mexico as well. So there's that little severe marginal risk there. And then this is for today. So this is your day one outlook here for your Tuesday. And we'll take a look at the next 3 days here. And so there's today. There is for tomorrow, comes out into the plains. So we're talking about areas from South Dakota, back Wyoming and Nebraska, and still New Mexico there. And day 3, just kind of sitting there on Colorado and into Kansas. Now, as the storm thing begins to move on out, then we'll see it change a little bit here. Look at the day 4. Day 5, this is what comes into the southeast. So this is going into Saturday. This is Saturday, so we're talking about Texas up into Illinois. We're going to watch for some severe weather in here. Potential tornadoes, I think that's there because we got some pretty good jet energy there with this thing. So, again, this will be for this upcoming Saturday. So, kind of get a little early on the fall severe weather season. Typically, it's more into November, but that's something we will be tracking for this upcoming weekend. Now, as far as that excessive rainfall total stuff for today, let's look at your day 1. Obviously, California, we just saw the flash flood discussion just come up for that for the entire Los Angeles metro area there. Obviously, they're in the yellow there with a slight risk for flooding, and back over here toward New Mexico as well here for today. We'll be talking, that's what they'll be tracking there. Day 2, not really bad, just a little pocket there across Colorado and to New Mexico. And then day 3, looking quiet on day 3. So there's a little bit of a break here of the time being. All right, let's go take a look at the model data here. Let's go take a look at this. Let's get this up here as we're going to look at the NAM 3 kilometer here this morning as we're going to track that storm system on the west coast, kind of sliding on it and into the Intermountain region. It's going to dump some pretty good snows with it as well. So good snows up there across the Sierra Nevada coming through there, and it swings inland there across into Nevada and into Wyoming. See some good snows there as well as this thing swings up toward the north. Pretty good high pressure across the east. We got a bit of a backdoor cold front that's going to come down Wednesday, Thursday time period going across from the northeast, dropping on down. You see that energy kind of dropping there, kind of falling apart, but we'll see a little cool down the east coast there as this system kicks up to the north and then kind of swings back down. All right. So here's your rainfall totals. East Coast, you're looking quiet. South Central looking quiet. Got some rains there across the northern plains, stretching back to the Intermountain region as that big storm system here on the west coast kind of tracks itself inland. So as this thing swings inland, we'll get some higher elevation snows as well as some pretty good heavy rain, especially across Southern California as we're seeing right now currently. Temperature-wise, boy, this could look at this. We're still into the 70s and 80s here across Kansas. And it's 50s in Nebraska. If it's going to warm up even more for tomorrow, check this out, guys. This is kind of crazy that we're going to continue this. This is your going in toward tomorrow. Look at this, in the 60s here. Unreal, seeing that. Out of that storm system, as we get that dive in out west, we're going to get a warm up here in the middle. And look, check out these temperatures here on Wednesday. We're in the 80s in Nebraska in mid-October. This is unbelievable. Punching up this. Very, very warm here in the middle of the country once again. Southeast begins to warm up. Still cool in the northeast. Intermountain region, relatively cool. But again, it's unbelievable to see that. And then you can kind of see this front begin to slowly begin to push off toward the east there a little bit. You can see the front kind of right there. Look at the warm up here. 70s into South Dakota and into Minnesota going into Thursday. So big warm up as that big trough comes out of the west, slowly begins to move off. So again, above normal temperatures. That's been kind of the song and dance here for the fall season so far. Now let's take a look at the height anomaly map here. Let me switch this over here. Stand by real quick. Let me get this switched over. So what we're going to be seeing here is a very progressive pattern here across the nation. So we're starting to make a little bit of a transition here. That's why I think the fall severe weather season is going to be a little more active. So here's our trough here coming up this weekend here. And then we got a ridge back up across the south. So that means we're gonna cool down for a couple days across the south. They're going to warm right back up again. And then look at this big trough here going to the following weekend. I got a nice little dump there coming on down behind there, and it lifts on out. So again, it's definitely starting to see a little more of a progression. You see these things, one boom, starting to line up a little bit. So a little more progressive. That's good to see. But each one of these things, because it bumps into that warm air, will bring an opportunity for severe weather. Again, we're not talking spring severe weather, but a little bit different. This is kind of the little brother but it'll be there. Gusty winds, maybe some tornado potential there across the deep south, especially as we go into October and November. So I am anticipating a little bit above average for that. All right. So let's look at your next 7 days. Now, 7 days, we just got this one big storm system we got to track. That's impacting the West Coast today. So it moves inland, as we saw, dumping the snows there. It moves north, and then it drags the front. Here's that frontal system right here, coming on down here across. And this is where we'll see that severe weather potential on Saturday. You see that right there across Missouri into Mississippi. And into, all right, so there it goes, that front. It moves on through. We got a nice little cool down on the backside of this. And then we got another system coming in on the West Coast. There's another West Coast system that's coming in on Saturday as well. So this moves on in fairly weak, not too strong on that one. And that kind of swings up toward the plains. But big warm up on the backside of this as this moves in. And there's an update on that severe thunderstorm watch there for Southern California. That's unreal to see that in October. We got a severe thunderstorm watch in Los Angeles. That is very unusual to see. So just updated the counties there. That just got an update there from the Storm Prediction Center. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the rainfall totals here. Obviously, Southern California, Northwest stays active. That storm system is going to drop some decent rains across the country. So a lot of the country will see a little bit of rain. Maybe not Texas, but again, this is your 7-day total. Don't like going beyond 7 days because it's speculation after that for the most part. And here's your snow totals. Definitely out west, the Sierra Nevada. I think this is a little underdone. I think they'll see probably up to 2 feet there. Look at these totals up here, though. Wow, 19 inches there across Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. As that moisture begins to swing upward, we're going to get some pretty good snows there. It's really starting to build that snowpack out in the west right now. Now, temperature-wise, again, going for Friday, look at this. Look at that. I mean, we're going into the 70s into Wisconsin on October 17th. It's supposed to be getting into the 50s and low 60s this time of year for highs. Not this. This is crazy. So this kind of moves on. Here's our front. There's our cold front. Right there, big warm up out of it. Cold out here in the Intermountain region going into the Saturday. This thing will swing on to the south. So still pretty warm there on your Sunday afternoon across the south. Still hold on to the 80s there. But there goes the front coming through on Sunday. And nice little cool down there. Look at that. Nice cool down there. Still warm there in the south central plains. There's our cold front swinging on through. Going in toward Monday. So nice little cool down, but the plains are going to warm back. Look at Texas still holding on to that heat, boy. They just can't seem to get a break there. And we're still about rebounding back in the 60s into Nebraska, going back in there. That's not too bad. But 70s into Kansas going. These are overnight lows there. But that's that next storm system coming out there. And then going into next week, look at that 80s back in Iowa again. Here's our next cold front right there. So just seeing really big fluctuation extremes. And like I said, everything supports my thesis that we're going to have an active severe weather season. As long as I keep seeing these kind of warm-ups out of these little cold shots, we get those clash of the air masses, we're going to continue to see that. Now, you're probably going to see a lot of stuff on social media talking about big cold Arctic outbreak. I've been seeing these multiple postings. Anything beyond 10 days, folks, it ain't going to happen until we get closer. Climate Prediction Center is not going to make substantial changes to their lookout until they see some continuity on there, which has not been there. And the pattern is going to be, so for right now, even though I know we're going to have like a 2-day cool down like across the east next week, the overall pattern is still warm. All right, so let's look at the climate here, looking at this is from the 19th to the 23rd, colder in the west for obvious reasons. We're seeing that active storm track there, so cold there, staying warm here pretty much for 2/3 of the country. And that doesn't change much. It stays exactly the same going from the 21st to the 27th. There are some of the long range keep want to bring a big plunge down at the end of the month, but we've seen that repeatedly. I'm sure you've seen it here, middle of the month, and just keeps pushing to the right, pushing to the right, pushing to the right until it happens. Until we get something closer in, I'm not going to really worry about it. All right, now where I disagree with the weather, with the Climate Prediction Center here, this above normal precipitation across the south, I don't know about that. I've tracked only one decent rain event here across the southeast. That's coming this weekend, and maybe 2 in a 15-day period. So I don't know if I buy that as far as above normal precipitation across the south. And then it kind of backs off a little bit there, going in from the 21st to the 27th. So again, Southern California getting severe weather some more. Tornado risk is there. My guess is up maybe a water spout or something maybe coming in. They got to watch for that out there in California. Let's go back to the California radar there. Again, kind of seeing the active weather. Got the flooding potential there. Urban areas, a lot of concrete, so flooding problems there. So Southern California, severe thunderstorm watch up. You're looking at heavy downpours out there and very low risk, but it's there. 2% risk for tornadoes into that zone for today. I guess I should have showed that. I didn't, but don't worry about it. You get the gist. That area right there, looking at a very low risk for tornadoes for today. Who we got on the channel this morning? We got Kim out there. Good to see you, Kim. Got Edith. Hey, Ryan. Good to see you there. Rita, good morning. Good to see you out there as well this morning. Appreciate you guys checking in on the channel. And again, I've almost got my 100. I'm very close. Once I'm like $88, so I'm going to start my advertising here going again. I'll let it run for a couple of weeks, though. I'm not going to run all at once, run first. And we'll try to push our little number up there a little bit. We've been kind of holding our own right now. All right. Anyway, that's y'all's update for today. I appreciate you guys checking us out. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see how things are progressing. And we'll probably get a little better idea of what that severe weather potential across the south central portion of the country. And that includes Arkansas. Rita, y'all watch out for that as well. Or Mick, that's Mick's out there. Mick's one in Arkansas, my bad. So I don't see Mick out there. Nope, she's not there yet. Okay. So anyway, you guys take it easy. Y'all be good. Stay safe.